Guys, that's your Reveiw Legends. Welcome to the video. Send us some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you're going through something and you need it out there today. Today's gonna be a banger of a video because we're talking about freaking rare champions and Raid Shadow Legends. Does anybody even use rares nowadays? The answer is yes. Actually, let me tell you a little bit of a story here. Story time with Ash. Gather round, boys and girls.
Computer says nah.
We actually had a siege recently, and you know what's crazy is you can't even go into the siege and look at your previous sieges. Like, isn't that so lame? They really need to work on the UI, in my opinion, on the siege in general. But I digress. We're not here to complain today. We're not here to complain today, Ash.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
We had one team on our last siege battle. It was this post, right? And I think he single-handedly won the entire game for his clan. May have won anyway, but to be fair, we went through like 40 freaking battles, myself included. Like myself and our other like whales and krakens, we all failed. And it was an all-rare team. An all-rare team. And this is why I've been asking for all rare and all epic ladders, so to speak, or leaderboards in Live Arena, for example, right? I think it'd be so cool because that was actually fun. Even though they smoked us, and I will tell you the team, it was really freaking cool. Like, it was cool that a rare team was a difference maker in Siege. It's not just Siege, though. There's Doom Tower. There's Secret Rooms, obviously. There's some Cursed City areas where rares can be useful. And honestly, rares, like, there's a lot of areas that not an all-rare team, but a rare champion specifically could be a massive difference maker. Some of them are top of the class, right, in their category. And that includes epics and legendaries and even mythicals. And what do I mean by that? Like, let's start with a champion like Fellhound, you know? Fellhound is still my campaign farmer. Now, listen, I could probably use like Siegfried or something, right? But he does it in 5 seconds, right? Like, he's the fastest there is, and anybody else, it's gonna be the same speed as Fellhound, right? So like, there's an example of top of class rare champion who is beyond serviceable, right? Even beyond restrictive content. So today what I wanna do is quickly, I hope I can do it quickly.
Yeah, keep dreaming.
I want to quickly go through here, and I just want to pick out every faction. I want to talk about my favorite rares, and rares that I would consider 6-starring, okay? So, like, every rare I would consider, and I'm going to say consider because it's situational, right? I wouldn't go out and 6-star a reviver if I absolutely don't need a reviver in that faction or for a content that is restrictive in that area. But if I needed one, hell yeah, I would go for it. So everything in this game, obviously, is dependent on what your goals are, what your account looks like, where you are in your account, and what area you're struggling or want to optimize, right? So anyway, big long preamble. Let's go through here, right? Let's go through. So in Sylvan Watchers, I actually love a lot of these Sylvan Watchers. I think that Tree Shield Knot is a top 10 rare champion in the game, and I think that he is pretty close to a must-max for anybody who has this dude. He's got a triple hitter on his A1. He's got a heal. He's got an increased defense, 3-turn cooldown, and a revive 2. The only rare reviver that can revive more than one ally in the game, and a very robust kit in addition to that. He has some decent survivability for a rare, decent speed for a rare. He can help you out tremendously in Faction Wars, bring that speed aura to the table as well. He's one of my personal favorite rares in the game. Ingid Twiststaff. Really love this Sylvan Watcher rare. A little bit more situational, not an auto max for every player out there, but this dude has an AoE increased accuracy. It's a 25% increased accuracy, the weak version, but that's still significant. Obviously, 200 accuracy on a champion, you're still getting a 50 boost. That's solid, right? That's solid. He also has an accuracy in all battles on the aura. So he's bringing an additional 30. So again, in that same scenario here, we're getting 250 plus an additional, so 280 accuracy just off of his aura and his buff. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. He also brings a leech, and then he has another AoE with Turn Meter Fill, allowing him to get faster back to the increased accuracy. I love Ink with Twist Staff. Really cool champion. Bowsmith Flannan, another one. Sylvan Watchers actually has a lot of good rares, which is cool because it's the newest faction. It's the faction that people most need serviceable rare champions, right? He has an AoE decreased speed, weak version, but still really nice to have. And then he has an increased accuracy as well with an ally attack, albeit one ally. The cool thing is he has a stun on his A1, and he has a potential to get an extra turn when he attacks enemies under decreased speed, or when he lands decreased speed. So a lot going on in this kit. He's a defense-based champion, so he's fairly easy to keep alive too. I love Bowsmith Flannan. A lot of people are fans of Shadowbo Turlak. I'm not a big fan of him. He brings a weak version of increased speed and a veil. So if you're really looking for a veil for some reason, he can definitely get you covered there. Otherwise, I'm not a huge fan. I remember making a video years ago when he was introduced to the game. He was one of the first Sylvan Watcher rares. And I think I overhyped him a bit, honestly. So I apologize for that. Branch Arm Lasair. Branch Arm Lasair, super cool champion, right? I was kind of late to the bandwagon on him. HP-based champion. He brings a strengthen and a provoke on a target enemy. Strengthen for all allies, weak version. AoE ×2 with a decreased attack and a shield, right? He has a triple hitter on his A1 with some self-sustainability. I like the heal because he's landing a provoke. I like the AoE ×2 on a 3-turn cooldown. I like the damage mitigation as well. Not the best rare in the game, but not a bad little champion there. Those are my favorites here. Honorable mention to Pathfinder Kate. She's not that bad, but I wouldn't like rush out. She wouldn't be my favorite here. So my favorite Sylvan Watchers. Now, Shadowkin, unfortunately, I can't say the same about. I am underwhelmed, dramatically underwhelmed by the Shadowkin rares. There's really only one to talk about, in my opinion, and that's Odishai, or Odichi? Odichichi?
Odachi.
Yeah. He's a really cool champion. He's defense-based. He's got a simple but effective kit. He's got a provoke at a 35% clip on his A1. He's got a shield on an AoE 3-turn cooldown, right? On himself, the shield, by the way. And then a block debuffs on all allies for 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown. Also increased defense, weak version. But this is great. Block debuffs is very hard to find among rare champions, right? You've got Marked, you've got Odichai, I think you've got like 1 or 2 others. That's pretty nice to have, right? Block debuffs with the increased defense, with the AoE as well, and provoke. Some nice control here in this kit. Can help you out in Faction Worms. He is a bit one-dimensional in my opinion, you know? It's not like you're going to be trotting him out in a lot of, normal content, dungeon content, beyond progression, but he can be good in restrictive content. Dwarves. Oh, man, there's a lot of rare dwarves here. Avir is solid. I wouldn't auto-max Avir, but I think I'm probably in the minority. I think from the comments, a lot of people love this dude. Listen, he has a robust kit. He has a decreased attack on an AoE, a decreased speed if they're under poisons. If there wasn't that conditionality, I would put him in probably an auto max. He does bring poisons on his A1 though, so there's that. Good against bosses, right? Including faction war bosses, because you get the decreased attack, the decreased speed, and the decreased speed is going to land because the poisons are on the A1, right? He also has a turn meter fill and a heal. He brings a lot to the table. He's a nice, versatile little rare champion. Candleguard, not a must max, but is one of my favorite attack-based rares in terms of damage dealers. No one talks about Candleguard. She's always so miserable.
I'm okay.
Always so sad.
I'm fine. I'm fine now.
We're sorry what happened to your hands. It's just awful. It's like a medieval torture device.
I'm fine. Totally fine.
But she has an AoE on the A2 with a weaken, and an AoE on the A3, bringing her own increased attack and increased crit rate as well to help alleviate the build requirements on her, right? Who else we got? Well, we've got, man, there's a lot of borderline edge cases here when we look at these rares, aren't there, guys? Like a champion like Bulwark. I don't know. He's got a burn. Burn is so hard to find on rare champions. I think Bulwark is first or second best burner, right? So if you're looking for burn, go for it. He also increases the duration of all debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn, which again extends the duration, right? Good kit, really robust kit, underrated void rare right there. One of my favorites is Kurzad Deepart. Talking about him all the time. He's one of my favorite rares. 2 AoEs, both on the 3-turn cooldown. He brings a decreased speed. That's the big version of decreased speed on his A1. That's really strong. That's really strong for a rare champion. He also has turn meter fill and an increased accuracy. This is a 3-turn cooldown as well. Kurzad is criminally slept on. No one ever includes him as being a top 10 rare. He's a top 10. I'm going to point out all my top 10s along the way, right? You got Painsmith and Beast Wrestler. They both have block revive in their kit, but not worth maxing, but good to know about. You got Master Butcher, has some interesting mechanics with the Provoke. Is a 2-turn Provoke, right? So if you're really struggling for a Head of Decay Provoker, he can get you covered there. Sorry, I have an itchy nose right now. I don't think I'm missing anybody who I think is a no-brainer. I will give one final shout-out, though, to Dilgal. Dilgal has a triple hitter with a decreased defense, an AoE with a decreased accuracy on a 3-turn cooldown. I use him in a stun set. He can be useful against bosses with a big version decreased defense. There's only a couple rares that have that as well. And a decreased speed on his A1, right? Kind of a conditional 6-star, but I have him 6-starred, so I have to include him on the list. Same thing with Candleguard, to be clear. She's very conditional, but I like her in a stun set with 2 AoEs and some damage. I love Executioner so much. He's one of my favorite rare champions in the game. He's old school. I believe he's campaign farmable too. For me, he's a max, because I still use him a lot, and I maxed him out years ago. Is he like an auto must max no matter what? Nah, but you can't say that about many rares. An AoE with decreased turn meter by 20% on a 3-turn cooldown with the decreased speed? Yes, please. This is the best AoE control ability, I think, out of any rare in the game. That decreased turn meter on a 3-turn cooldown from a defense base, so he's tanky-ish, right? He has a counterattack, increased defense for more damage. He has nice damage. He has great control with the decreased speed, decreased turn meter, and the stun on his A1 with the counterattack. I really love Executioner. On any account that I have, I'll be rocking an Executioner. Who else do we have here? We don't, honestly, if you're struggling for a cleanser, Acolyte has a cleanse, albeit kind of a very mediocre one. I wouldn't take him to 60, but you can use him at 50. People love Guardian. I'm not one of them. I maxed him out. I was pretty disappointed. Renegade. You don't have to take her to 60. You can use Renegade at level 50. She has a sacrificial ritual. It's kind of like a mini Kymar, right? It's a little bit of a reset, kind of like Painkeeper. So you definitely got to know about Renegade, but you can use her without fully maxing her out. Why bother, right? Ashwalker. Nice damage, AoE weaken. And I love him because his name is Ashwalker. He also has a stun. He also has decreased turn meter. I like Ashwalker, but I don't think he's a must max. He does have a speed in all battles aura though, which is pretty cool. Rares don't have that. Ashwalker does, right? Ashwalker's conditional. I have him maxed out and I don't regret it. Maybe I'm biased. Longsword Turox, man. Longsword Turox is really good. If you're looking for a control, a defense base, tanky provoker, look no further. He's the best option for rares. Maybe with one exception that we'll get to when we get to Skinwalkers. But an AoE increased defense with a provoke on a 3-turn cooldown. The provoke is a really solid 65% chance at landing. Very, very good. He has block damage. He has counterattack, leading to more leech application on his A1 as well. Really solid champion. Any other no-brainers here? Some people like Coven Smasher. Listen, I shouted out Bulwark for being a good burner. He's another good single target burn option. His passive has a little bit of damage mitigation as well. All right, Dark Elf time. I'm not going to talk about the starting champions. Obviously, all of them I think are serviceable. I would not max Galek personally, but the other three, yeah, go for it. Judge is worth knowing about. Kind of a cool champion. An AoE ×2 on a 3-turn cooldown with turn meter fill. Really solid, right? And then he has all these debuffs. A mini Contra the Cyclone in Judge. I don't think he's an auto max though, personally. Doesn't deal much damage at all either, but he can deliver some RNG-laden debuffs to your team. Not a must max out, but Spirit Host is, again, similar to Acolyte. She has block debuffs and the cleanse. So better than Acolyte, I should say, and campaign farmable. A lot of people use Spirit Host in the beginning of the game, but you're going to outgrow her pretty quickly too, right? Coltar is obviously the best rare in the game. She has the deplete turn meter and the enemy max HP, right? She's awesome. A hard-hitting A2, a quad hitter on her A1. She really is borderline legendary champion, right? Epic, S-tier epic or legendary. She'd still be very, very good. She'd be good no matter what, right? So she's the best. She's the GOAT. Obviously top 10. Painkeeper. I love Painkeeper. Get a sneaky little heal here and you get the decrease the cooldown ability like we talked about, right? Painkeeper, really solid. You see Painkeeper and Renegade used on these kind of reset teams. Oftentimes you'll see 2 Painkeepers or even 3 Painkeepers. There's that infamous 3 Painkeeper Iron Twins team. You can just YouTube search it. I have a bunch of videos. I'm sure a lot of other creators who are better than me have them out there too. Steel Bowyer, don't max her out, but she's the forgotten enemy max HP champion. But all enemy max HP champions are not created equal in this game, right? There's a certain percentage of enemy max HP, and hers is very low. I was very let down by Steel Bowyer. She's not good. We're not here to talk about champions we wouldn't max, Ash. Come on, bro. Paragon Cheese. Paragon, not worth maxing, but you can absolutely use him to cheese some content. He is unkillable on himself for 2 turns on a 2-turn cooldown. Yeah, pretty solid, right? All right, Undead Horde time. Undead Horde. We've got Banshee. Banshee's campaign... I always say this. I don't think she is campaign farmable. Someone always corrects me in the comments. Banshee. AoE on the A1, AoE on the A2. Stun set candidate, right? I'm going to go over a bunch of stun set candidates with 2 AoEs or an AoE on the A1. Doesn't mean that you need to max them out, but they're worth your consideration for maxing for wave control content, right? Always looking for the AoE attacks on the A1, their first ability with no cooldown. Frozen Banshee, still worth maxing today. She's got poison with poison sensitivity. The best rare poisoner, with all apologies to Kale, I believe, in the game, because she brings the poison sensitivity on the 3-turn cooldown, which activates the extra poison, the big versions of poison on her A1. Grave Chill can be fun to pair with Frozen Banshee, but she's certainly not a must max or ever max, frankly. Who else here? We have 2 others. We have Doomscreech, right? Doomscreech, really solid. His AoE doesn't hit that hard, but by the way, I was talking about that team that wrecked everybody in the siege against my clan. Yeah, Doomscreech was the turn meter booster. Go figure, because he has the best turn meter boost out of any rare. It's not even close, with a 30% turn meter boost. You know, that is the best in the game. You know, with some minor caveats. 30% turn meter boost with the increased defense, big version. There's only 2 champions, him and Marked, who have the big version of increased defense for rare champions on a 3-turn cooldown. That Warning Screech is one of the best rare abilities in the game. He's great in a shield set too, because he has 20k HP. Definitely worth maxing if you need increased defense or a good turn meter booster for your team. Corpulent Cadaver used to be one of the best in the game, but they nerfed him. Seducer, though. Seducer is situational. He's a defense-based champion. He has a lot of defense. He has an increased defense and a block debuff for 2 turns. Granted on a 4-turn cooldown, but like I said, only a hand. Did I say 2? Well, obviously there's a few more than 2, a la Spirit Host and Seducer. There's not that many block debuffs champions out of rares. He has it with the increased defense, a good ability. And then he has an AoE decreased attack, and then he has a sleep on his A1, right? So he's a good, versatile, and tanky rare champion. Anybody else here? You got to know about Grinner. Everybody has to know about Grinner, because Grinner has 110 base speed. I think he's tied for the fastest rare with Diabololist, maybe. He also is a reviver. There's only a handful of rare revivers, right? Reliquary, Gear Grinder, Harrispex, Tree Shield Knot. I'll go through a couple more, I'm sure, in the video. But Reliquary. But Grinner's one of them. Grinner is a criminally underrated rare reviver. Super fast, got the revive, and he has an AoE remove a random buff from each target. Not a bad little ability there. It's a 50% clip. Honestly, super underrated. I should just make a whole video talking about Grinner. I like Grinner. I'm glad that I didn't forget to mention him. I almost did. All right, we were just here, Ash. We were just here. Demon Spawn. I'm moving kind of fast, right? I feel like I'm moving at a good clip today. Diabololist. She got the increased speed. She's got the mini Lysandra, the positive charge, not the energize, the positive charge. Increased turn meter, decreased turn meter, same ability with a sleep on the A1. She's tied for the fastest rare, 110 base speed, right? She is campaign farmable, stage 12 of the campaign. She's worth going for. Take her to 50, and then if you like her, take her to 60, right? Marquess, conditional. She's the best I think she's the best rare nuker in the game in terms of raw damage from one ability. It requires a setup. You need a weaken, on the targets. She does bring her own weaken, though, right? Not at 100% clip, though. Deals extra damage, which is essentially akin to double damage if they're under that weaken. She's defense-based, too. If you're looking for a rare arena nuker, there you go. Or just a wave clearer, here's your girl. That being said, there's plenty of better nukers out there, and they're kind of a dime a dozen, so it's not a mandatory. We talked about Fellhound already. For me, he's an auto max. Just want to make sure you put attack percentage on the boots, stick in a little bit of defense there in his kit, and you'll be good to go, right? He'll clear those waves on brutal easily for you. So for me, he's a must max, because I love the dude. If you already have a campaign farm that you're totally happy with, then whatever. He does, I should say, though, have a block damage on a 3-turn cooldown on a random ally, and a reflect damage on a 2-turn cooldown. This is good for Fire Knight, right? 2-turn duration, so 100% uptime. Fellhound's a cool little champion. And then, of course, my personal favorite, Abyssal. I love Abyssal. Stun set candidate. But stun set, because of the AoE on the A1, and a lot more, right? He brings a heal, and he also brings an increased defense and an increased attack. They're the weak versions of 4-turn cooldown. It's not all ideal. However, it can be hard to find those debuffs, let alone on the same champion, let alone on the same ability to begin with on rares. Abyssal's got you covered. All right, Orc time. Who do we have? Get to the chopper, I'm here, do it now. Guess what? There's no good Orc rares, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm just making sure. Ironclad, you can obviously have some fun with. Veteran used to be somewhat serviceable. I honestly do not recommend. Ironclad, he has that excess heal ability where he'll do an AoE attack. It's not much in the way of damage. I mean, there have been some crazy kind of bugs and stuff with him. But in a stun set, you could get some utility out of him. I just find it, honestly, with the 1-turn cooldown, I just don't find it worth it. So there's no Orcs. Surprise, surprise, Orc is the worst faction in all of Raid Shadow Legends. Greybeard is campaign farmable, and he has an AoE freeze. A pretty decent one. It's a 3-turn cooldown when booked, and what is it, a 45% chance of placing a freeze? Not bad. He's defense-based. He brings his own shield as well as a counterattack, which leads into a provoke. The provoke is at a 70% clip. So you add the freeze and the provoke. He's a good little control champion. However, I would take him to 50 and see if you really like him, then consider 60. Fleshmonger, not an auto max, but listen, it can be very difficult to find an AoE decreased defense big version champion. There's only 4 or so rares that have it. Fleshmonger has it, albeit a 75% chance at landing on a 4-turn cooldown. But sometimes if you're looking for that damage escalation, it's so hard to find that, he has it, right? Increased attack, increased crit rate, on himself, extra turn, some decent damage there. You ought to know about him with a triple hitter on the A1, but you're going to outgrow him, frankly, pretty quickly. I mentioned him earlier that we're going to be talking about the best provoker when I was talking about Longsword Turox, I think. Remember when I mentioned the Skinwalkers? It's Gnarlhorn. Gnarlhorn's amazing. He's an amazing Phantom Shogun Grove tank because he can't critical hit, he can't strong hit or weak hit on his A1 ability, but he has such a simple kit and so effective, right? He brings his own unkillable for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown for survivability, obviously, and he just has a straight up place a provoke for 1 on all enemies, 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown. He also gives himself an increased defense, again, to help with survivability. He is, by a mile, in my opinion, the best provoker for any rare out there. He's great for wave content, great for Phantom Shogun Grove. All right, anything else here? Nah. There's some, interesting champions. High Stitcher Born, for example. Not a bad champion, increased resistance and a shield, as well as a heal and a turn meter fill. I don't think he's a max personally, but, you can know about him, right? Good to know about. Lizardmen time. We got Muckstalker. For me, Muckstalker, unless you're just totally good on Phantom Shogun Grove, he's still the best. People talk to me about, oh, Ash, you're too hard on Chronicler Adolin. She's a good sleep champion. This is a good sleep champion. His campaign farm was going to sleep for 2 turns on a 2-turn cooldown. What else do you want from me? He's campaign farmable as well, right? So, solid there. His distant cousin is a Metal Shaper. Metal Shaper is is the shield version of Muckstalker. He's got the shield for 2 turns on a 2-turn cooldown, so he can be your Scarab King shield champion, right? those guys, if you need them, you max them. You can use them, right? They're great. They can actually be used in progression as well as, higher stages. Other than that, though, pass if you don't need them for those use cases. I kind of like Cagebound, and in Harrispecs we mentioned he's a reviver to know about, but unless you're really struggling for revivers and Lizardmen, I think he's a pass. He's one of the older, outdated, I would say, revivers. Ogren Tribe. All right, who do we have here? Well, we have top 10 alert, top 10 alarm, Bellower, right? Bellower ages like a fine wine. He's just one of the goats of Raid Shadow Legends. I like him more every year, I feel like, right? AoE in the A1, AoE in the A2, AoE in the A3. There's Nature's Wrath Blessing. That blessing can turn the weak version to the big version of debuffs. So if you have Bellower, you got to put him on your wish list on the Soul Stones. You hope you get a 6-star soul eventually for this dude, and you have a 60% chance of upgrading all of these debuffs, right? That makes him really good. He can deal damage. You can put him in a stun set. He deals all these debuffs. He's so good. I call him a top 5 rare in the game, actually. Gear Grinder. I like Gear Grinder. Simple kit. Decent amount of HP. He's got a revive on a 5-turn cooldown, and he heals everybody on a 3-turn cooldown, right? If you need a reviver, he's a good option for you. I have him maxed, and I don't regret it. I don't use him a ton, to be fair, but he's not bad. Is that it? That is it. That is it. I was thinking there was like a lot more rares here, but I guess we've covered like quite a few. Barbarian time. Okay, going back to that team that destroyed us, right? Skirmisher was on the team. Skirmisher is an interesting champion, right? She has a decreased target's turn meter by 20% if the attack is critical on the A2. She has a more damage against targets with no buffs, but then she has this Dispelling Shot. It's an AoE, straight up remove a buff from each enemy, right? It's a niche champion, right? That's why she was that good. She was great in that siege. She gives a fighting chance to remove Stone Skin in a rare only area, right? So she was on the squad. It's good to know about her, right? I was kind of cool. It was cool seeing her in action, right? It's a champion I haven't thought about in a long time. Ragemire can deal a little bit of damage here with an AoE ×2 with poisons, but I don't think he's worth maxing personally. Soulbond Bowyer, I do think is a top 10 rare champion as well. Great in the stun set, 25 extra chance of critting on all of her abilities, and then she has the Soulbound Shot, right? A decent, ignores 75% of the target's defense. The multipliers are not huge, but still ignore 100% potential with Helm Smasher and or Savage Gear. But you still want her in a stun set in most situations. And then the full turn meter depletion on the A3, like really solid. It's Cold Heart without the damage on the A3. And that stun chance on the A1. I love Soulbond. Berserker can deal some decent damage with an AoE ×2 with ignore defense on his A3. Good to know about. Definitely not an auto max. War Maiden. I mean, she's campaign farmable. She's the only rare to have 100% decreased defense, big version on an AoE 3-turn cooldown. She's campaign farmable in the Dreadland, stage 9 of campaign. She can deal some damage as well. She brings her own increased attack. She's still the standard, the best of the best when it comes to rare debuffers. She's still lacking clothing, which...
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just find clothes restricting.
We're good with it. We're good with everything about War Maiden. Marked. I didn't give Marked her due for a long time. Shame on me. I think she's a borderline top 10 rare, right? Maybe in like the 10 to 15 or 11 to 15 range. But she brings the big version of increased defense and a block debuffs. We talked about this, right? Warning, or the Warning Screech, is that the name on Doom Screech's ability? She doesn't have the turn meter, but she has the big version of increased defense, just like he does. I think there's only, like I said, 2 rares in the game that have that. That's really nice, right? And the block debuffs to boot makes her very, very good. An AoE decreased accuracy is fantastic on a 3-turn cooldown and a decreased defense on her A1. You can get that all the way up to, what, 100% chance? 70% chance? 80? Either way, she's great. Marked is actually very, very good still to this day. Sacred Order time. Aethel, we talked about. There's some bad ones here. I hate Castigator. Don't fall for it. He sucks. Purgatory, I hate. I've maxed a lot of these champions out. I have this mission to max out every champion in the game, right? So I've maxed actually a lot of these rares that we've spoken about and a lot that we haven't too. Confessor, what does she do again? Okay, she has the big version decreased accuracy on an AoE, and then she has the extra turn potential. Interesting little champion, but definitely not an auto max. We have the worst rare in the game. I hate you, Harrier! Yeah, I would avoid Harrier. I would avoid Harrier. Some people like him. I would avoid him. Other than that, like, I think there's a bunch of junk here. You know, Draconis has a good shield, but I'm not in love with any of these champions. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong here, but Templar, he has a provoke on a 4-time at random 3-turn cooldown. So I guess Templar might be the dude with the big version decrease speed on the A1. He might be the dude that is worth considering if you need that provoker, especially in the early game. Now, he attacks with a default skill whenever an enemy places a debuff on him as well, so you could do a lot worse than Templar, you know? Not a champion that I feel like a lot of people talk about. High Elves, Apothecary, top 10 rare in the game. He's probably the most well-known rare in the game. He's fast, 106 base speed. He's got the increased speed with the turn meter boost. He's got the defense in dungeons by 21%, great for progression. Then he has that soothing chant, that 2-turn heal that can be critical. I used to discount this when I was really new to the game. Back in 2019, starting my YouTube channel, I used to be like, yeah, but the heal is just a single target heal. No. It's a critical 2-turn cooldown single target heal. He also has a triple hitter on his A1, which is good against Fire Knight, especially in progression. So easy top 10 rare right there. Two other, we talked about Elhange, definitely worth maxing. There's 3 others to know about here. Eris. Eris is very good, right? And also farmable. Remove a random debuff from all allies with the big version of increased speed, right? She's a lot slower, obviously, than Apothecary. She doesn't have the turn meter boost, but that cleanse is great, especially for Demon Lord stun cleansing, right? She has an extra turn if the target's killed, so forget that. Simple kit. The counterattacking, you can put her in a toxic set to dish out some poisons. Just be careful of that debuff meter, right? So Eris is really solid. Selenia Nightcloak is probably, what, 3-way tie with Bulwark and Coffin Smasher to be the best burner. She has an AoE burn, though. 65%, I'm sorry. She has an AoE burn, a 3-time at random, so kind of AoE, not really, right? 3-time at random, increased accuracy she brings. Each hit has a 65% chance of placing a burn. She's my favorite burner in the game because then she can also increase the duration of those burns on her A2, and then she has some heal on her A1, and then boost turn meter every time a burn is activated. So Selenia Nightcloak gets my reward for the best burner rare in the game. However, none of them are that great compared to epic burners, right? Like the Mordecais and the Skranks and the Geomancers, right? Reliquary Tender, top 10 rare. She got the revive, she got the cleanse, and the continuous heal, and the decreased attack on her A1 too. Listen, Reliquary Tender to me is an easy top 10 rare. She's got the revive. It's not a good revive, but it's a revive, right? Hard to find. But this Tender's Watch is one of the strongest rare abilities in the game, right? We talked about a few of these throughout this video. This is one of them. A full-out cleanse and a big version of continuous heal for 2 turns. That's a lot of healing. It's just a straight-up cleanse. What's best is it's a 3-turn cooldown, right? Very good. Very useful in so much content. All right, that's going to be that. There's some interesting, I'll say, rares, but none who I think are like, you know, none get you percolated when you pull them out of a shard, you know. Bannerlords. Valerie, good for level 50. She's got great ability here in energizing presence with debuff and buff manipulation. She's campaign farmable as well. And Conqueror. Conqueror is also campaign farmable. This guy's cool, man. He's got a attack 1 enemy, removes 2 random buffs from the target on his A2, but it's a 2-turn cooldown, right? And then he's got a block revive ability on his purge. He's not an auto max. He's far from it, but he's got a very cool kit. I've always been very intrigued. 3-turn cooldown, 2-turn cooldown. Campaign farmable, sign me up, right? Good to know about for sure. And then we have Denid. He's really bad, but he has one thing going for him that no other rare in the entire game and only one epic in the entire game has. And that is a big version of Strengthen on a 3-turn cooldown. His HP is so low, but like, you know, maybe you can get some utility out of him in a shield set, but you just kind of crank up the HP as much as possible. And then he's like, and you put Bulwark Mastery on him, Selfless Defender Mastery on him, and then just make him the king, maybe in or maybe not a shield set, maybe guardian gear, try to boost up that defense. Just try to get a lot of survivability out of this champion, because his claim to fame is the 25% damage mitigation on all allies vis-a-vis the strength and on a 3-turn cooldown, right? So he's not an auto max, but he's very unique. Dagger. She's not an auto max. I'm actually not a big fan of Dagger. For a Void rare at this point in time, I'd love to see 100% decreased defense. But the good news is it's a 3-turn cooldown. It's a 75%, 80% decreased defense with a Sniper Mastery, and she's Void. Unlike a War Maiden or a Fleshmonger or whoever, you don't have to worry about the affinity, right? Now, the cool thing is she also brings a decreased attack on her A3, as well as turn meter increase on her A1 to help her get back to the decreased defense and the decreased attack. So certainly could do a lot worse there. There it is, guys. Those are every single rare that I would considering maxing here in 2025. Did I forget any of your favorite champions? Let me know about it in the comments below. Do you disagree with any of the champions that I said that I would max, or I said was top 10, or I consider maxing? Let me have it in the comments below, guys. Thanks for watching till the very end of the video. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.